Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kiki and today's video is going to be books that are worth the hype or not. So last week I posted a reel to my Bookstagram page and it was just one of those funny, relatable type videos, and my question to everyone was, what books do you think are not worth the hype? I had so many comments on this reel. I think I had over 200 comments of people telling me what books they didn't think were worth the hype and what books they thought were worth the hype. So I've gone through all the comments and I've pulled out about 11 or 12 books here that I'm going to show you all and let you all know whether I think they are worth the hype or not. I don't have these books in any particular order. They are literally just kind of piled up in a stack. So I'm just going to start at the top of the stack and work my way down. So the first book that I have in this stack, and this one was actually commented on my reel quite a lot, Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This book has had a lot of hype. I actually did a reading vlog on this book. I'm very on the fence with this. I liked it, but I didn't like it. I don't think it's worth the hype, but it's worth the read. I don't know if that makes sense. It was a little bit of a letdown, this book, for me. To be honest, what let me down the most is that it's promoted as a sports college romance and it's also promoted as a hockey romance, but there's no hockey in this book at all. Like, you have the hockey team captain, but you don't have the hockey. That was a big letdown for me. So I don't think this is worth the hype, but I do still think it's worth the read. So I'm very on the fence with Icebreaker. The next book that I have in this pile here is The Spanish Love Deception. This hands down is not worth the hype. I 100% agree with everyone that was commenting with this book. This was also another one that was quite frequently talked about on my reel. This is a very, very big slow burn. It was very boring in my opinion. It's just wasn't the book for me, and because of that I've actually never read anything else by this author. The next book I have, and this one was only commented once. I don't know if this book is super popular, but I know it's gotten a lot of hype over on Bookstagram, and I do believe on Book Talk. Pucking Around by Emily Rath. This to me is not worth the hype. I did read this. I did rate it 4 stars. It's a good book for what it is, but it's very big. Very, very big. And if you were going to go in and read the novellas before and after this, it makes for an extra long book because they are just kind of a continuation. Look, it's 740 pages of smut. That is all this book is. If that is what you read books for, you will love this. If you read a book because you need a storyline and a plot, I don't think you'll like this at all. It's definitely a book where you'll either love it or you'll hate it. The next book I have, and this one was also commented a few times, Archer's Voice. Now, I actually really love this book, and Archer is the most beautiful book boyfriend soul you'll ever meet. He is so sweet, and I did really love this book. Was it worth the hype for me? I don't know if it was worth the hype, to be honest. It wasn't a 5-star read for me, that's for sure. So I don't think it's one of those books that I would hype up. It was still definitely a really good read. So again, this one is kind of like Icebreaker for me, where I kind of sit on that borderline of whether it's worth the hype or not. I was actually really surprised to see this next book commented as many times as it was. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm sorry, but I am a true Sarah J. Maas fan, and I will always and forever hype this series up. I love this series so much. I have 2 copies of this book. I have read it multiple times. I can admit, and I do see why some people don't think it's worth the hype, because they read book 1 and it is a little bit slow and they kind of get over it and they don't continue the series. But I'm telling you now, the hype comes from book 2 and the rest of the series as a whole. It's one of those things where you can't really rate it or give your opinion on it until you read the whole series. I definitely think this is worth the hype. I definitely think it's worth the fandom, especially if you continue on to go read Throne of Glass series and then the new Crescent City series. It's just one of those like worlds that you want to be involved in, and the fandom is really fun to be a part of too. I mean, we're a little bit crazy, but it's really fun to be a part of. I do think this is worth the hype. I know book 1 can be a bit slow. I know it's a slow burn. I know it can be a bit tedious until you get to Under the Mountain, but it's still worth it. And when you get to book 2 and you continue the series on, you kind of forget that this was slow. Next we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I actually really enjoyed this book, and I do think this one is worth the hype. I don't think book 2 is worth the hype at all, and I'm still yet to read book 3. I loved Knox Morgan. He is the grumpiest, grumpy male main character you will ever read, and he is so worth it. This book was great. It was a little drawn out towards the end and a little bit long, which is why I didn't get 5 stars from me. I think I rated this one 4 stars, but I still really loved it, and I still think this is worth the hype. 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole is next in my pile, and this book hurts my little heart. It hurts my soul. It's the saddest book I have ever read. I was crying from page 12, and I was a blubbering mess by the end of it. I cried so hard in this book. It was so incredibly sad, and this is 100% worth the hype for me. I will never not recommend this book if you want a book that can make you cry. And if this book doesn't make you cry, are you okay? This book was everything to me, and I'm so excited for book 2 to come out next year. Cannot wait. The next book in my pile is the Shatter Me series. I actually had this one commented quite a few times as well, and I have to admit, I've not read this series. This series has been on my TBR for so long, and I hear a lot of mixed reviews about this, so I would actually love to know, do you recommend this series? If you do, please leave me a comment below and let me know that I should read this. So I can't say if this is worth the hype or not. Of course, I had a lot of people comment saying that Colleen Hoover is not worth the hype. And if you can see up here, I'm a big Colleen Hoover fan. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone can have their authors they like and authors they dislike. I do believe Colleen Hoover gets a lot of hate these days because she blew up last year. She became very, very overhyped, and I understand that. There's been a few books that I don't think are worth a hype, but as an author herself, she is definitely worth a hype. And there's a reason why she blew up and became one of the best authors of last year. I mean, if she wasn't, she wouldn't be there. For me, Ugly Love is my favourite Colleen Hoover book. And if you're not a Colleen Hoover fan, that's so okay. Totally okay. There are a lot of authors out there that I don't really like that people think are worth the hype. I only have 3 books left in my pile. The next book I have is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This one was commented a few times too. And this one actually really surprised me because I thought this was one of her more popular books. I think this is worth the hype. The next book I have is Twisted Love. I don't think this is worth the hype at all. I think I rated this 3 stars. I have not continued the series. I don't think I ever will finish the series. Wasn't my favourite. The last one I have is actually a surprise to me because I thought I was in the minority with this, but going by my reel and the amount of comments I had, it's kind of nice to know that I'm not alone in this. The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I've only read the first 2 books. I haven't bothered with the 3rd book. I don't think I ever will read the 3rd book. This series was very repetitive for me and really boring and just gave me nothing. I don't think the Dreamland Billionaire series is worth the hype, in my opinion. That is all 12 books that were commented quite a few times on my reel. These books are books that people don't think are worth the hype. There are quite a few in here that I do think are worth the hype, and there are quite a few in here that I agree and don't think are worth the hype. I would love to know though, do you agree with any of these? Do you think any of these are worth the hype or not worth the hype? Leave a comment below and let me know. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.